All right, well, this is the first installment, I guess, if you will, no pun intended, of my fruit tree setup. This has been years in the making. Actually, if you look right over there through the trees, you can see some white blooms right in there. Those are trees that I've had in pots for, I think this is the third year now, that I bought on sale when I was all excited. I thought I was going to plant them that year, and I thought I'd plant them the next year, and yeah, I just never was quite ready, and I still don't know that I'm totally ready, but I'm doing it. I'm telling myself that I'm ready. I'm doing it. So this is the first start. These are 6 apple trees, which if they're, you know, halfway productive, it'll be more apples than we ever need. But that's kind of my goal, honestly, is that I want to have more fruit than I can eat and that our family can eat, so we can preserve it, we can give it to the neighbors. But what I've got is three pairs of the same tree. There's 2 Anna apples, 2 Einscheimers or Einschimmers, which the Einschimmer I think is actually one of the parentages to the Anna, but I got them so they're cross-pollinators. They're both good southern varieties. And then I've got 2 Granny Smiths that are both right here closest to us. The Granny Smiths I didn't know historically were really considered a southern variety, but I think they say they'll go all the way to zone 9, so we're gonna give them a shot. But I've got them set out here the way I want them. I put them on about 20-foot centers, give or take. And my goal, this is going to be years in the making, but my goal is to do a espalier with them and actually bend them over and keep them really low to the ground. My hope is that none of the main limbs will be any higher than 8 feet. So I'm going to do a very aggressive shaping with them as they start to grow and train the main limbs out low to the ground. Kind of like a live oak, if you're familiar. Make them real long, low limbs. And I got this idea from actually videos about the Back to Eden garden. Paul, I can't remember his last name, but if you look up Back to Eden, you might see some videos of his that show his apple trees. They're real long and low like that. They look kind of weird because they look like the top's been snapped off. But it makes them super convenient because you never have to get a ladder to pick your apples. You just, you know, so even if your tree is not a dwarfing variety, you just train it to stay low to the ground. And it should work out just fine. So that's my goal with these. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to try to do. That'll be, like I said, that'll be years and years and years in the making. The goal for right now is just get them in the ground and get them established and not have them in pots for the next 3 years like a dum-dum. I'd hope that 3 years from now they're, you know, may actually give me a little bit of fruit that I can actually take. So anyway, I just want to show you how I got them laid out. I'm going to grab the shovel here and start digging and get them spaded in. Now this is typical and frustrating nonetheless, but I expected it. Severely root bound from being container grown. Roots are just circle, 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 circle. So I'm gonna have to go get my wheelbarrow, so I've got some space to work, and I'm gonna have to go through and loosen all this up to spread these roots out, or else they're gonna sit here and just wanna circle around and around and around this tree, and they'll end up girdling the tree. So let me go do this. I made a video about this in the past, I think actually several years ago. You might go back and look it up. But this is to be expected anytime you're buying a potted tree at a nursery anywhere. So not ideal, but it can be worked with. Just gotta know what to do. So just to show you, I've been working on it for about 10 minutes here, 5-10 minutes. This root here, how long it is, it was wrapping around just like that. So that's exactly what I was talking about, the circling roots. That's the only main root that I found that was really wrapped. But the other good advantage I wanted to mention on doing this is it helps you find the actual root flare, which if you look up some of the stuff by Howard Garrett, the dirt doctor, he's really big into tree health and proper root flares. This thing had dirt up to here in the pot. That is not your actual root flare. The root flare is right here where it actually starts to branch out. So this is what you want just right at the surface of the ground, not this. So do yourself a favor, don't you yank them out of the pot, throw them in the ground the same way they were. You need to really look at them, inspect them, do a little bit of prep work. You'll thank yourself later. All right, so that took a solid 10 to 15 minutes. You'd think digging the hole is bad, but that was actually the easiest part, the fastest part. Really the bad part is untangling those roots like I showed you. And actually right after I cut off that last little bit, I found another big one, a main root that was actually turned about 60 degrees, turned back into the middle of the clump. And I got that one sorted out, so I'm happy I did that. So, you know, make a good point. You know, honestly, it wouldn't even hurt to, if you wanted to, wash the roots entirely off so you can see everything. There's no harm in that. Just when you plant it back in the hole, you want to put that soil that it was growing in back into the hole around it, just so there's not shock of a different possible soil chemistry. So this one's in. You can see I left the dirt. I left kind of a little ring of dirt around the outside edge just so I can make a basin around it to water it. And I've watered it in now. It's not super tight in there, but it just kind of, you know, stepped the soil out. Like if I wanted to, of course I could yank it right out right now, but this soil, it's got a little bit of sand in it. It'll actually pack down around it pretty good. Of course you don't want it packed tight, but it will pack in there pretty well. You can see this particular tree actually has a fork right here about 5 feet. I think really for the espalier that I'm after, I'd like to go up to about 6 feet or so, 6 to 6.5, and then bend it over. So I'm gonna let it get established here for a week or two, maybe start to see if it'll start pushing a little bit of bud, and then I'll probably lop the top off right there somewhere and try to get it to fork out 3 or 4 branches. And then as those branches start to grow, I'll stake them down, tie them down, and start bending them over. But there'll be more on that later. For now, I got to get the rest of them planted. Okay, so let me just show you this one. Actually is a good example. This tree was super loose feeling in the pot to the point that I could, if I tried to pick it up by the trunk, the pot fell off. But here's why. Because this is only maybe a 1-year tree in this pot. This is a tree that maybe was upgraded or might have even been dug straight out of the field and thrown in this pot this year. You can see a little bit of circling roots going on, but nothing like that other one had. So these trees, and they are from separate retailers. This is one that came from the Houston Garden Center. I made a video about that. So I'm actually really happy about this. I don't know their supplier. I mean, it just says this is all the information that you get. It doesn't say anything about who actually grew the tree, what nursery it might have come from, or grower. The other ones, I think, from the big box store that rhymes with Rose, I think they've got a tag on there that shows, it might say who the grower is, like texastrees.com or something, I don't know. But anyway, I want to show you that. So this is actually a good thing. If you find a tree that feels loose in the pot, that's a good thing, because I don't really have to do any work on this one. I'm just going to double check it over real quick, make sure there's nothing crazy circling, plop her in the ground. I could do this all day. Okay, well, they're in. That took me a solid hour just having to untangle all those roots, but looks good. I'm actually really excited. Those of you that have been following my channel for all these years, you know how much time we've spent trying to establish our homestead out here, and of course now we've finally got our house built, although still not done. That's the way things go, but it's built and we're living here, and we're finally able to start putting in things permanently. It's a big pet peeve of mine in life, is being on the move, so to speak, you know, not being able to just bolt it down. But as far as I'm concerned, it would take an act of God to get me out of here now. So, you know, I've already committed. If I lose my job in Houston, so be it. I'm staying here. I ain't going nowhere else. So yeah, this feels really good. It's really satisfying to finally start to put in something that feels permanent. So I got the 6 apple trees. I've still got to figure out where I'm going to put all those peaches and nectarines and pears and whatever else I've got over there. Honestly, I don't even know what all I have because the tags have fell off of them. But I know there's some peach, and I know there's some plum. I think the white is plum, the pink is peach. There might not be any nectarine, I really don't know. And then I've got these 2 pecans. I've got to figure out where to put them, which I was just going to plant them, honestly. Like, I don't plan on having a pecan grove. So I was just going to throw those out probably somewhere here along the edge of the trees, just kind of space them out and kind of let them become a wild pecan tree as far as I'm concerned. Might put in a pecan grove sometime in the future, but not really planning on it now. I just wanted to have them, get them established. But yeah, this is about the apple trees really. I'm going to try to do a little bit of dirt work if I can, maybe take some of this little high part here and put it in this hole. And then I want to see about how I can get a dump trailer and get a bunch of mulch in here.